Hello everybody, ArashiYT here, bringing you guys a very special video because we're less than a month away from the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Generation 8 is very close for us, and I thought it would be a very cool idea to take a good look at the current state of the Galarian Pokedex to see which Pokemon did make the cut and which Pokemon are still missing for the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, which Pokemon could perhaps lose out on being available in Pokemon Sword and Shield, because there are some questionable Pokemon already in Sword and Shield, and there are also some Pokemon missing from Sword and Shield where I'm thinking like it would be weird if they didn't make the cut. But before we actually going to go into all of this, of course, obviously this is going to be very spoilery, so if you don't want to know which Pokemon did make the cut already in Pokemon Sword and Shield, then click away right now. This is going to be a very spoily video, so just a quick heads up and a warning, like if you don't want to get spoiled which Pokemon did make the cut in Pokemon Sword and Shield, you can click away right now. But I have the website Cerebi.net online. By the way, Cerebi.net celebrated their 20th anniversary this week, so many good luck to the creator of Cerebi.net, Joe Merrick, for being an awesome pillar of the community, providing news, providing information to millions of Pokemon fans around the world. But he has the Galar region Pokedex here on his site, on the Pokemon Sword and Shield page, with all the Pokemon that are currently available in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So we don't want to check out the Pokemon that are like from Generation 8, because those are new. They're obvious that they are in the game. So we're going to scroll all the way to the Pokemons that are starting from Generation 1. So we are obviously going to start out with Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. I'm going to make a presumption here. I'm going to make a guess that, you know, the Bulbasaur line and the Squirtle line will also be available in Pokemon Sword and Shield, because it would be weird if Charizard is the only starter available in Galar. And with Charizard having a Gigantamax form, I wouldn't be surprised if Venusaur and Blastoise get one as well. But after that, we go to the Caterpie line with Caterpie, a Metapod, and a Butterfree. Butterfree also having a Gigantamax form. But then we have a big gap from Butterfree to Pichu. And the Pokemon that are missing so far are the Weedle line, so Weedle, Kakuna, and Beedrill. We have Pidgey, Pidgeotto, and Pidgeot who are missing. The Rattata and Raticate, Spearow and Fearow, Ekans and Arbok. And those are the Pokemon missing between Butterfree and Pichu. Now, I could see them not putting in Rattata and Raticate in the Galarian Pokedex, because there are some rumors that there will be like a squirrel Pokemon in the Galarian Pokedex, which could be the first route rodent Pokemon. And I am surprised if they wouldn't put in Pidgey, Pidgeotto, and Pidgeot in the game, because those are like your trademark first route bird Pokemon. But I don't know on the top of my head, but I think Pidgey was like not in all games throughout all of the generations. So they could leave out the Pidgey line in that regard. And the same goes for Spearow and Fearow. I wouldn't be surprised if those two Pokemon aren't in the Galarian Pokedex as well. But Ekans and Arbok, I do believe that Ekans and Arbok will be in Pokemon Sword and Shield, because Weezing got a Galarian form, and I truly believe that they will give Arbok a Galarian form as well, because of the whole Team Rocket situation. They gave Meowth a Gigantamax form, they gave Weezing a Galarian form, so I would be heavily surprised if Arbok didn't got a Galarian form, because they could do so much with the anime in that regard by giving Weezing a Galarian form and also Arbok a Galarian form. So it's a big surprise that they are still missing so far from the Pokemon that have been announced for Pokemon Sword and Shield. But maybe Arbok will be revealed later to have a Galarian form, and then, you know, they will be in the game. But then we have Pikachu and a Raichu, and of course Pichu as well. But then we have like a big gap again. And that is that from the Pokemon's missing are Sandshrew and Sandslash, both Nidoran lines, Nidoking and Nidoqueen, and those are the Pokemon that are missing between Raichu and Clefairy. So again, I will be heavily surprised if they didn't put Nidoqueen and Nidoking in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, Nidoqueen and Nidoking deserve more love. Like, I have a feeling Pokemon likes Generation 1, they like to give more attention to Generation 1, but I have a feeling that they are, you know, forgetting about Nidoqueen and Nidoking all the time, which is sad, they both could get like a Galarian form or a Gigantamax form, they both deserve it. I'm already surprised that they didn't got like a Mega Evolution, both in Generation 6. So yeah, Sandshrew, Sandslash, you all guys know that Sandslash is my favorite Pokemon, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't make the cut, because Sandslash already got some love in Generation 7 for having an Alolan form. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sandslash didn't make the cut. It would, you know, hurt me a little bit because I love Sandslash, but I would not be that mad if they did. But you know, let's go forward and see. So then we have the Clefairy line, we have the Vulpix line, which also had an Alolan form, so maybe Sandslash will still make the cut here. Then we have the Oddish line, but I already need to, you know, take a step back here because we're missing Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff, and we're missing Zubat and Golbat. Now, Zubat and Golbat, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't put those in Pokemon Sword and Shield, even though Crobat is like a popular Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken, all out. But I wouldn't be surprised if they let out those two. But if you put in Clefairy and Clefable and Cleffa, then, you know, you should put in probably like Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. But, you know, in a total sense, it wouldn't hurt if Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff wouldn't be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But it would surprise me if Clefairy and Clefable would be in Pokemon Sword and Shield and Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff would be left out. So, you know, that's something that I am truly surprised of. Then we have like Oddish, Gloom, Vileplume, and Blossom. We got Diglett and Ductrio, but we're missing Paris and Parasect, and like now we're getting at like the juicy points where I'm like, okay, some of these Pokemon are probably going to be in Sword and Shield, but they're probably going to get a Galarian form or maybe something else. Like, we have Diglett, Ductrio, and of course Meowth and Persian, and then we have Growlithe and Arcanine, but there are missing so many Pokemon here that I truly believe will probably in the game, but like we have Paris and Parasect, we have Venonat and Venomoth missing, and we also have like Psyduck and Golduck missing, and Mankey and Primeape. Now, Psyduck and Golduck, I truly believe that they will get Galarian forms. They have to. That's not me being like, oh my god, I like Golduck. They have to give them like a Galarian form. But Psyduck is a popular Pokemon in the Pokemon franchise. I think after Pikachu and Eevee, most people will recognize Psyduck as like I'd say Psyduck is like the third mascot of Pokemon, also being heavily feud in the Detective Pikachu movie. I think one of the creators of Pokemon's favorite Pokemon is Psyduck, and I think there were plans on making Pokemon Let's Go Psyduck instead of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, but they chose Eevee because they thought Eevee, and it is true by the way, that Eevee is like a second mascot besides Pikachu, so they chose for Pokemon Let's Go Eevee instead of Pokemon Let's Go Psyduck. But if Psyduck and Golduck wouldn't be in this game, like fair enough. But if they are in this game, then they truly need like a Galarian form, or Golduck needs to get an evolution. And the same could be said for Mankey and Primeape. I think Mankey and Primeape could do very well with the Galarian form, but you know, I wouldn't surprised if they didn't make the cut. Growlithe and Arcanine did make the cut. Not a surprise because they are very popular. I don't know if Arcanine was revealed in the trailers, but I'm very sad that Arcanine didn't got like the treatment Ponyta got by giving them a Galarian form. I think a lot of people would have loved a Galarian Arcanine. But let's go further. We have the Machop, Machoke, and Machamp line, and seeing this, we're missing now on quite a lot of generation Pokemon already. Poliwag, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath. So that also includes Politoed from Generation 2. We have Abracadabra and Alakazam missing as well. I don't believe they're gonna let out Abracadabra and Alakazam from Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think those are... they got a Mega Evolution, Alakazam, but I don't know. It would heavily surprise me if they let out the Alakazam line. I wouldn't surprise if they let out the Poliwag, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath line. They could totally make like a new frog Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield, because frogs are like a generic animal that you see most of the time. So maybe we'll be seeing like a new frog Pokemon, and then like Poliwag, Poliwhirl, Poliwrath, and Politoed will be left out for this generation. Which sucks because Politoed is quite a fun one to use, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if those Pokemon are out of the cut. Then if we look here, we have Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, Onix, and Steelix being announced. Now, again, a lot of Pokemon are now like missing. Like, we're getting like into the juicy bits here. For you guys who don't know, I have like a second screen here where I have the complete Pokedex. So I'm scrolling both in between to see which Pokemons are missing. But from like Machamp up into Ghastly, we're missing Bellsprout, Weeping Bell, Victory Bell, Tentacool, Tentacruel, Geodude, Graveler, Golem, Ponyta and Rapidash, but Ponyta has a Galarian form, so Ponyta will be in there. Slowpoke, Slowbro, so that includes Slowking. Then we have like Magnemite and Magneton. Farfetch, but Farfetch has like a Galarian evolution, so we know Farfetch is in the game. Doduo and Dodrio, Seal, Dewgong, Grimer, Muk, Shelder, Cloyster. Those Pokemon, besides the Pokemon that I've mentioned who have Galarian forms, which will be in the game, those are all not in the game if this is like the end result for the Galarian Pokedex. Like Geodude line, okay, I could see that. The Golem line got like a Galarian form, Alolan form in Generation 7, so they might actually be like, okay, Golem got enough attention, let's put it on the side. But like Bellsprout, Weeping Bell, and Victory Bell, I think those three will fit in the Galarian Pokedex, or at least if they give a Galarian form to a Generation 1 Pokemon again, I think the Bellsprout line would benefit from it. Tentacool and Tentacruel, I wouldn't care if those two aren't in the Galarian Pokedex, because Tentacruel and Tentacool, you know, we've seen those Pokemon so many times when using Surf in like Generation 3 and Generation 1. So I wouldn't surprise me if they were like, okay, Tentacool, Tentacruel, I'm sorry dudes, you're not in the Galarian Pokedex. Slowpoke and Slowbro and Slowking. Again, I wouldn't actually be surprised if they leave out those three. Slowbro did got like a Mega Evolution in Generation 6, but I think Slowking they could still like maybe give a Galarian form. Like they could easily give maybe a split evolution again for Slowpoke, giving like the shell, which was like in the space demo from 1997. So it would suck if Slowpoke and Slowbro or Slowking wouldn't make the cut, but for me personally, as a player that don't like that style much, I wouldn't be that unhappy if those three aren't in the game. Magnemite and Magneton, also Magnezone. I would be sad if those two aren't in the game, but I think Klink and Klinklang are in the decks, which will be going shortly. This is going to be a long video, by the way, because I'm going through all the current Pokemon decks. But again, Magnemite, Magneton, Magnezone, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Doduo and Dodrio, the same, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Seal and Dewgong, again, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make the cut. Grimer and Muk, could be the same. They got an Alolan form in the last generation, so they could, you know, push those out of the side. They got enough love. Shelder and Cloyster, I would be surprised because I think Shelder and Cloyster would benefit from a Galarian form, but again, wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. So then we're back at Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, Onix and Steelix, and then we're missing Drowsy and Hypno, Krabby and Kingler, Voltop and Electrode, Executor and Executor, Cubone and Marowak, up until like Tyrogue, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan and Hitmontop. All the Pokemon mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not in the game. Drowsy and Hypno, wouldn't surprise me. Krabby and Klingler, there were like rumors of them getting a Galarian form, but I don't think they will make the cut because we have like a lot of Krabs Pokemons already, and No, Krabby and Kingler, that would be fun if they got a Galarian form, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. Voltip and Electrode, same. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Execute and Executor. Executor, of course, got the Alolan form, so I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Cubone and Marowak, like same with Executor. Marowak got an Alolan form in last generation, so I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Then we have Hitmonlee, the Hitmon line. Tyrogue, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and Hitmontop. We have Coughing and of course Galarian Wheezing. Then we got Rhyhorn, Rhydon, and Rhyperior, which are in the game. And then we got Goldeen and Seaking, which I'm surprised that Goldeen and Seaking are in Pokemon Sword and Shield. There are so many fish Pokemon, and then Goldeen and Seaking. I mean, it's good that they give Pokemon like Goldeen and Seaking some love that they are in the Galarian Pokedex, but I'm quite surprised that they did make the cut, especially if you look at the Pokemon that are now missing, which are Chansey, Tangela, Kangaskhan, Horsey, and Seadra, which also includes Kingdra. So, like, Tangela with Tangrowth as well, Kangaskhan, like Kangaskhan, I could see them not putting Kangaskhan in the Galarian Dex, but still, like Chansey and Blissey and Happiny, like, they give out so many experience. Like, if they didn't make the cut, I wouldn't be unhappy, but I would be a little bit surprised. The same with the Horsey line. But after that, we're gonna get Magikarp and Gyarados, who are in the Galarian Pokedex. But that means, and now we're getting into a lot of juicy parts here. Staryu, Starmie, Mr. Mime, Scyther, Jinx, Electabuzz, Magmar, the whole line of Electabuzz and Magmar, Pinsir, Tauros. If this was like the end result for the Galarian Pokedex, those wouldn't make the cut. So, just to remind you guys, Electabuzz, Magmar, Pinsir, Tauros, Mr. Mime, Scyther, Jinx, though, if this was the end result of the Galarian Pokedex, they wouldn't make the cut. Staryu and Starmie as well. They could still be revealed, but so far they're not in the Pokedex. And again, it surprises me that Goldeen and Seaking are in the Galarian Pokedex, but like a Pokemon like Staryu and Starmie isn't. Maybe they'll give Seaking like a new evolution. That would actually be very cool. I wouldn't mind having giving Seaking like a new evolution, like Goldeen Seaking, and then like a last evolution line. Put another typing on it. That would actually be cool. I'm actually hyping myself up for that. But then, of course, we have like Gyarados, Magikarp, Gyarados, Lapras, Ditto. Ditto is in Pokemon Sword and Shield, so we can, thankfully, you know, breed our Pokemon. And I think breeding in Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to be very fun. I think a lot of people are finally going to be able to, you know, get their own Pokemon bred. And that's so very useful for VGC, for draft leagues. Of course, the Eevee line is in Pokemon Sword and Shield as well. And then we get at Snorlax, which does mean that like Porygon and all of the fossil Pokemon in Pokemon in Kanto, like Omanyte, Kabuto, Aerodactyl, those whole lines won't be in Sword and Shield, but I won't be surprised if they do that. Fossil Pokemon are quite special, and I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back like fossil Pokemon in Sword and Shield by giving Generation 8's fossil Pokemon. And Porygon, wouldn't be surprised as well if Porygon Pokemon, like the whole Porygon line, didn't make the cut. But then we come into Generation 2, because Legendaries and also Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite didn't make the cut so far. That's quite weird, actually. I just noticed that now. The Dragonite line isn't in Pokemon Sword and Shield up until now. Of course, while recording this video, it could change a few days after recording this video. It could change while I'm recording this video. But the Dragonite line isn't in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Alright, so now we're getting into Johto. So, we have Hoothoot, Noctowl, Chinchou, Lantern, and the Togepi line. So, we're missing the starters from Johto. We're missing Sandthread and Furret so far. And we're also missing Lediba, Ledian, Spinarak, Ariados, and of course Crobat, which I mentioned earlier with the Zubat and Golbat line. So, like, Sandra for it. Wouldn't surprise me if they didn't make the cut. I'm happy that Hoothoot and Noctowl make the cut. I don't think Noctowl wasn't revealed in the trailer just yet. I think Hoothoot was revealed, so they're automatically assuming that Noctowl will be in the game. But they could give Noctowl like a Galarian form. I don't know if the starters, like I hopefully believe hopefully that all of the starters from every generation will be obtainable in Pokemon Sword and Shield at some way. But again, at the same time, I wouldn't surprise if they only give Generation 1, maybe Generation 4, and that's it in terms of the starters. But Hoothoot and Noctowl are in Sword and Shield, which I'm very happy of. Then we're getting at Natu and Satu. Cleffa was announced because Clefairy was in the game. Igglybuff wasn't announced because Jigglypuff wasn't in the game. Then we have Togepi, of course, and Natu and Satu are in the game. But Bonsly and Sudowoodo are in there, but then we're missing like Mareep, Fluffy, Ampharos with the Pokemon Wooloo now in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I don't think Mareep and Fluffy and Ampharos will be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But we are going to get in the juicy bits now. So after Satu, a lot of Pokemons are missing from Generation 2. A lot of Pokemons are missing from Generation 2. So I'm just going to buy them and mention some of them, like Hoppip, Skiploom, and Jumpluff. I wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Apom, I would surprise if that didn't make the cut, because Apom, in my honest opinion, is like a very popular Pokemon. But with Grookey now as a starter Pokemon, you know, having another monkey-type Pokemon in Pokemon Sword and Shield, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Apom didn't make the cut. Sunkun and Sunflora, I wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut unless they give like Sunflora a Galarian form. And Yanma, and that also includes Yanmega as well. Wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. But now Wooper and Quagsire did make the cut. And Wynaut and Wobbuffet, which means like Pokemon like Murkrow, Misdreavus didn't make the cut, which also includes like Mismagius and Honchkrow. I would find it sad if Murkrow didn't make the cut, but I could understand if it didn't. Same with Misdreavus. Unknown, don't care about that. Fuck Unknown. Like Unknown, if Unknown would have made the cut, I would have been so mad if like one of my favorite Pokemon didn't make the cut, but Unknown did make the cut. So Unknown not being able in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I'm not mad about that. Then Wobbuffet, of course, did make the cut. And then Quillfish, which means that a lot of Pokemon like, okay, Girafarig, Pineco and Fortress, Dunsparce, Gligar and Gliscor, Steelix, I think I've mentioned Onix, that Onix didn't make the cut. If so, Onix I think didn't make the cut. Oh, Onix was in Sword and Shield. Onix was on Sword and Shield, so Steelix did make the cut. Snubbull and Granbull aren't in Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I wouldn't be surprised if Snubbull and Granbull didn't make the cut. But yeah, Dunsparce, a lot of people are heavily hoping that Dunsparce will get like a Galarian form and evolution. I think it deserves one. Gligar not being able in Pokemon Sword and Shield, I wouldn't be that mad about it. Like, I've used Gliscor in the Draft League meta, and I think it's a Pokemon that, you know, it would be sad if Gliscor and Gligar wouldn't be Pokemon Sword and Shield, but if I look at it at a Draft League standpoint, like in the meta standpoint, I wouldn't be that mad if Gligar and Gliscor didn't make the cut. But then we have Sneasel and Weavile, and then Swinub, Piloswine, and Mamoswine, Mantike, and Mantine. Which means that Sneasel I did mention, right? Yeah, Sneasel and Weavile were in the cut. But that means that Heracross and Shuckle aren't in the game. Teddiursa and Ursaring aren't in the game, which I wouldn't be surprised if Teddiursa and Ursaring didn't make the cut. Slugman, Magcargo, how much I hope that Slugman, Magcargo will be in the game. I don't think they will be. It's good to see Swinub, Piloswine, and Mamoswine being in the game. Those Pokemon are so good, so I'm happy that they are in the cut. Corsola didn't make the cut. If this was like the final result of the Pokemon Sword and Shield decks, I don't think Corsola would be in the game. Remoraid and Octillery, I think Octillery could benefit from a Galarian form. But again, wouldn't surprise if those two aren't in the game. Delibird, wouldn't surprise if Delibird wasn't in the game. But again, it could, you know, benefit maybe from a Galarian form, maybe from an evolution even. Skarmory, we have Corviknight now in Pokemon Sword and Shield, so, you know, wouldn't surprise if Skarmory didn't make the cut. Then we have like Larvitar, Pupitar, and Tyranitar. See, this is what I feel like. Like, we don't have Dragonite, but we are putting Tyranitar in there. Like, it's a little bit like, no bad words towards Tyranitar, by the way, because Tyranitar is a good mon, but it feels a little bit iffy. But so far we're missing Houndour, Houndoom, Panphy, and Donphan, which really surprised me if Panphy and Donphan didn't make the cut. Stantler, Smurgle, what a surprise. Then we have like a lot of the baby Pokemon that evolve into one of the Generation 1 Pokemon, like Smoochum, Elekid, Hitmontop, Magby. Miltank wouldn't make the cut, and Blissey, which I mentioned before with Chansey, wouldn't make the cut, which still surprises me. And then we have like the legendary beasts, and then like the all legendary Pokemon. But Larvitar line did make the cut so far in Pokemon Sword and Shield, which is good. It's good. But now we're going into the Generation 3 Pokemon, which I don't believe a lot of Generation 3 Pokemon will make the cut. I think a lot of Generation 3 Pokemon will benefit from a Galarian form or an evolution. But let's just go into it. The first Pokemon from the Generation 3 Pokedex are Lotad, Lombre, and Ludicolo, which does mean that like the whole starters of the Hoenn Pokemon aren't making the cut. Puchena, Mightyena, wasn't surprised if they didn't make the cut. We have Zigzagoon and Linoon having a Galarian form, so they did make the cut, but in a Galarian form. Wurmple, Silcoon, Beautifly, Cascoon, and Dustox. One surprise if they didn't make the cut, because we have Butterfree here, and I think there will be like a Generation 8 bug Pokemon that kinda, you know, be there. And we didn't saw Beedrill being announced so far as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if the whole Wurmple line wasn't like in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But Lotad did make it, so we have Wingull next, which led me to believe like C-Dot line, will they be being cut from the Pokedex if they put in Lotad? It could be. I mean, I would love to use Shiftry more, but if he didn't make the cut in Sword and Shield, I wouldn't be that mad. Then we have the Wingull line. Wingull and Pelipper are in Pokemon Sword and Shield. The Ralts line with Kirlia, Gardevoir, and Galate are in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Sableye and Mawile are also in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But now we're missing a lot of Hoenn Pokemon in the Pokedex. We're missing Taillow and Swellow. We're missing a Surskit and Masquerain, which I would be very, very disappointed if that was true, because I want to use Masquerain again. Masquerain is like a very underrated Pokemon in terms of battling. It has Intimidate. It's such a cool Pokemon. I want to use it more, so please let Masquerain be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I wouldn't mind if it got a Galarian form, but Masquerain, please let it be in Sword and Shield. But Shroomish and Breloom, also a big surprise. Slackoth, Figurot, and Slacking would be a big surprise, but I wouldn't be unhappy if they didn't make the cut. Nincada and Ninjask and Shedinja. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut, but it would be a shame because Ninjask is also a very underrated mon. The Whismur line, Whismur, Loudred, and Exploud. Wouldn't be unhappy if they didn't make the cut. Then Makuhita and Hariyama, I would be unhappy if they didn't make the cut because Hariyama is an amazing mon. We have Azurill, which I think Meryl was announced. So Meryl and Azumarill are in the game. Nosepass, which also means that Probopass wouldn't be in the game. I wouldn't be surprised if that didn't make the cut. Skitty and Delkitty, unless they get a Galarian form, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut as well. But Sable, I and Mawile are in the Galarian Pokedex, which, you know, is fun. But Mawile, without having a Mega Evolution in Pokemon Sword and Shield, will it be that much reliable? You know, in the Gen 8 meta, we'll have to see and watch. We have Dynamaxing, so maybe it could actually work out. Then we have Electrike and Manectric. We have Budew, Roselia, and Roserage, which did make the cut. Wilmer and Wailord, and the Flygon line. So let me actually go ahead and see how many Pokemons are missing. Then we are missing the Aron, Lairon, and Agron line, which I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Meditite and Medicam. I would be surprised if they didn't make the cut. The Plusle and Minun line, Volbeat and Illumise, meh. Gulpin and Swalot, meh. Carvanha and Sharpedo, meh. Numel and Camerupt, meh. Torkoal. Listen, Game Freak, listen. Listen. Put Torkoal in the game. Have you not seen BBL Season 2? Put Torkoal in the game. I wouldn't mind if it didn't got like a Galarian from another evolution. Just Torkoal is enough. Put Torkoal in the game, please. Please, put Torkoal in the game. I love Torkoal. Don't ignore Torkoal. Put Torkoal in the game. It was one of Ash Pokemon. Put Torkoal in the game, please. We have Spoink and Grumpig so far not being announced in the Galarian Pokedex. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Spinda as well. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. So then we have the Vibrava, the Flygon line. Then we have Baltoy and Claydol, Feebas and Milotic, the Duskull line, Snorunt, Glalie and Frostless, and those are the Generation 3 Pokemon, together with some of the evolution from Generation 4. Which also means that, let me actually take a look, Cacnea and Cacturne wouldn't make the cut. Swablu and Altaria wouldn't make the cut. Zangoose and Viper wouldn't make the cut. Lunatone and Solrock wouldn't make the cut. Barboach and Whiscash wouldn't make the cut. Corphish and Crawdaunt wouldn't make the cut. Lilip, Greydilly, Anorith, and Amorit, Armaldo wouldn't make the cut, but I wanted to be surprised because those are fossil Pokemon. Castform wouldn't make the cut. Thank God. Don't want that shitty Pokemon in my Galarian Pokedex. Get rid of Castform. Just delete Castform from the whole existence. Kecleon wouldn't make the cut. Shuppet and Banette wouldn't make the cut. Tropius wouldn't make the cut. I think Tropius could actually benefit from either an evolution or like an a pre-evo. I think Tropius could actually benefit from that. Chimecho wouldn't make the cut. Absol wouldn't make the cut. The Sweel line wouldn't make a cut. The Clamperl line wouldn't make the cut. The Relicanth line wouldn't make the cut. The Lufdisk line, well, Lufdisk as well, get it out of here, wouldn't make the cut. Salamence wouldn't make the cut. Metagross wouldn't make the cut. That's a lot of Generation 3 Pokemon that aren't making the cut. Like, a lot of Pokemon that I've mentioned from Generation 3, yeah, of course, they like Lufdisk. Okay, the Clamperl line. Okay, the Sweel line. Okay, the Metagross, Salamence. If this is going to be like the actual like end game for the Pokemon Sword and Shield next, a lot of viable mons will be missing from Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I would be sad. I would be sad if like Metagross wouldn't be there. I would be sad if like let me actually take a look. If like I would be sad if Cacturne didn't make that, but with Maractus being in there, spoiler alert, Maractus in Pokemon Sword and Shield, but we'll be getting into that even later. Like a lot of Pokemon from Generation 3 is missing, which kind of surprised me, but it is what it is. Like, we have some good Pokemon in there. Like, it's good to see like Milotic being still in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Flygon giving still some love. But like the Glalie line, Glalie, Snorunt, Frostless, okay. Duskull, okay. You know, there are some Pokemon missing. Like, it's like the whole deck's got like, it's like balanced, like good balance out. You have some good Pokemon in there, but there's also Pokemon missing and Pokemon being in there like But let's forget about Generation 3 for now. Let's dive into Generation 4. So we're starting off with the Combi line. Now, I'm going to go and delve into the Combi line in a moment. But we have Combi and Vespiquen and Cherubi and Cheren. So just so that you guys know, if your favorite Pokemon is, like, let's say your favorite Pokemon is Infernape. Infernape, of course, not mentioned here because it's a starter. I do believe maybe that the Generation 4 Pokemon starters will be in Pokemon Sword and Shield because of the potential Generation 4 remakes. But let's say Infernape didn't make the cut. Let's say your favorite Pokemon is Infernape. Or maybe Empoleon. Let's say your favorite Pokemon is Empoleon, Infernape, and they aren't in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And you take a look at the Galarian Pokedex, maybe you're playing the game blindly, and you find Cherim in the wild, or Cherubi in the wild. And then it hits you that a Pokemon that you love, like an Infernape, a Pokemon that is also very popular, a Dragonite, like if this was the end result, just make sure. Dragonite didn't make the cut, but Cheren did. Okay, Game Freak. Okay. Like, I don't know what the idea behind all of that is, but okay. But let's actually go back to Combi. Because there's also a lot of Generation 4 Pokemon missing, which that is understandable because, of course, after, as I mentioned, a potential Galarian, the potential Generation 4 remakes. But Combi and Vespiquen, if they don't give Combi, the male Combi line, like a male evolution and call it Vespi King, it's like you have the opportunity right now. The Generation 4 remakes are probably just around the corner. If there was like a chance, there is now to give Combi a male counterpart, which is Vespi King. But that's just me. But which Pokemon are missing so far from the Galarian Pokedex from Generation 4? I've mentioned the starters. Starly, Staravian, Staraptor. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Bidoof and Beedbarrel. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Kricketot and Kricketune. I would be sad if they didn't make the cut, but I can understand if they didn't make the cut. But I hope Kricketot and Kricketune will be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Shinx, Luxio, and Luxray still didn't make the cut. If this is going to be the end result and the Shinx line doesn't get like a Galarian form, I think a lot of people are going to get pissed at that. But let's just hope they do get like a Galarian form. Then we have the Cranidos and Shieldon line, the fossil Pokemon. I wouldn't be surprised if they did make the cut because they are fossil Pokemon. The Burmy line with Wormadam and Motim. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Pachirisu, wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. And Weasel and Floatzel, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Then we have Shellos and Gastrodon, which did make the cut. Drifloom and Drifblim, Bronzor and Bronzong, and then Riolu and Lucario, of course. So which Pokemon are still missing from Generation 4? We have Ambipom, of course, mentioned with Apom earlier. We have the Buneary line not making the cut so far. Okay. Mismagius and Honchkrow, mentioned them earlier. Glameow and Perugly, wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Chingling as well, as mentioned with the Chimecho line. Stunky and Skuntank, wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Bonsly, Mime Junior. Bonsly is confirmed, Mime Junior isn't. The same goes for Happiny. And Chatot is also not confirmed, but I do believe that with all of the rumors, I wouldn't surprise if they give Chatot like a Galarian form or even like an evolution just like Farfetch. Spiritomb, wouldn't surprise if that didn't make the cut because that was like a Gimmikimon from Generation 4. I think they're going to do something special with the Generation 4 remakes in the future. The Gaibel, Gabite, and Garchomp line aren't in Sword and Shield. Wait, what? Like, is that? No. That can't be the case. That can't be the case. Nope, Garchomp. The Garchomp line didn't make the cut. The Garchomp line so far didn't make the cut. I would be surprised. There, no, I would be surprised. No, that cannot be the case. That cannot be the case. Again, Garchomp isn't in Pokemon Sword and Shield so far. Cherim isn't. Just make that actually clear. Munchlax, Snorlax is part of the game, so he was revealed for that. Then we have I've always have problems pronouncing that Pokemon. Hippopotas and Hippowdon are confirmed. Croagunk and Toxicroak are confirmed. Snover and Abomasnow are confirmed. And Rotom is confirmed. Which means that from the Generation 4 Pokemon that are still missing from the Galarian Pokedex, we have Skorupian, Drapion, Carnivine, Finneon and Lumineon, and Magnezone, Licklicky. I already mentioned those two, that they weren't in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Rhyperior is, Tangrowth isn't, Electivire isn't, Magmarta so far isn't, Togekiss is, and Yanmega isn't. Gliscor isn't as well. Mamoswine is, Porygon C isn't so far, Gallade is, Probopass isn't, Dusknoir is, Frostless is as well. So, from all of the Pokemon that I've mentioned so far, the Pokemon that, like Lumineon, yeah, wasn't surprised if that didn't make the cut. Carnivine, unless it gets like a Galarian form, wouldn't surprise if that didn't make the cut. Skorupian, Drapion, yeah, I could see. It would be a shame. I think Drapion could still be like very fun to use in the Generation 8 meta, but again, I wouldn't surprise if that didn't make the cut. So I think with that being said, and with all of the Generation, oh my god, Generation 4 has a lot of legendaries, by the way, seeing that on the screen. But let's just dive into Generation 5. We're getting actually very fast now. I hope this video isn't going to be like over 1 hour long, but we're already like 40 minutes in. But I like this. I like to, you know, make like
okay, these Pokemon are so far announced, and these Pokemon are not so far announced, and I can actually, you know, get a little bit of a discussion going on. But let's go into Generation 5. So, of course, Victini and all of the starters aren't going to be available. We have Purloin, Liepard, and the Pidove line available. I like that because I wanted to use Unfezant in the Pokemon Sun and Moon meta. Couldn't got a chance to use it, so I got a second chance to use it in the Generation 8 meta. But with Purloin line and the Pidove line being announced for Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Pokemon so far missing are Patrat and Watchhawk. Wasn't surprised if they didn't make the cut. Lillipup, Herdier, and Stoutland. We have Yamper now, so wasn't surprised if Lillipup line didn't make the cut. The Elemental Monkeys, yeah, wasn't surprised if they didn't make the cut. Muna and Musharna, wasn't surprised if they didn't make the cut, because those were like Gimmikimon from Generation 5 with the whole Dream World stuff. So yeah, so far so good. Then we have Rock'n'Rolla, Boldor, and Gigalith, and Woobat and Swoobat made the line. So, you know, with Woobat and Swoobat being a Pokemon Sword and Shield, it makes sense if they didn't put like Golbat, Swoobat line in there. But with that being said, there are a lot of Pokemon also missing from that, which is, well, actually no, Blitzel and Substrika are the only one missing so far from the Pokemons mentioned in between Gigalith and Woobat. And Pheasant and Rock'n'Rolla. Blitzel and Substrika, it would be a shame if they didn't make the cut, but I could understand if they didn't. Then we have Timber, Girder, and Conkeldurr, which surprised me because, well, the matchup line wasn't announced so far, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I can actually take back. The matchup line it was announced, so that actually surprised me. That actually surprised me. So we have the Conkeldurr line, Time Pull, Palpitoad, and Seismitoad, like that Seismitoad is in Generation 8. Throw and Sock, and Cottony and Whimsicott, and of course, Maractus. So, which Pokemon are like missing? And also, of course, Sigalith there in the back. So, which Pokemon are missing? Well, we have quite a few. We have Drillbur and Exadrill, which would be surprising if they didn't make the cut for Galarian. For the Galarian Pokedex. Audino, wouldn't really surprise that, but hey, if Chansey isn't in the game and Audino isn't in the game, you know, having a Pokemon to actually grind up, well, grinding is now a lot easier in Pokemon Sword and Shield, so maybe I can understand them not putting in like Audino and Chansey in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Seawaddle, Swatloon, and Leavanny so far not being announced in Pokemon Sword and Shield, not really surprising there. Fanipede, Whirlipede, and Scolipede, not really surprising there. Then we have like, let me see if there are, if I missed something. Patilil and Lilligant. Wouldn't really surprise me, no. Basculin, maybe if you give it like a Galarian form or an evolution. I think Basculin is a Pokemon that serves well by giving an evolution and make it like that the red form of Basculin evolves into something else than the blue form and make it like a split evolution. I think that would work well. If not, wouldn't really surprise if Basculin didn't make the cut at all. Sandile line not being able in Pokemon Sword and Shield so far. That does surprise me because Crocodile is like I think Crocodile is like a favorite Pokemon for many people, so it would surprise me if Crocodile didn't make the cut. The Darumaka and Darmanitan so far not being announced. Yeah, okay. Like, I'm a little bit balanced on that. Like, I wouldn't be unhappy if they didn't make the cut. But I also wouldn't be happy. Like, it's like, I never used Darmanitan. I know a lot of people love it in the Draft League meta and in competitive meta. But if Darmanitan didn't make the cut, I wouldn't be that mad about it. Dwebble and Crustle, the same could be said for that. And Scraggy and Scrafty so far not being announced. But I think Scraggy and Scrafty could maybe benefit from a Galarian form. I mentioned Sigilyph before. Sigilyph did make the cut. Then we have Trubbish and Garbodor, Minccino and Cinccino. We have the Gothita line. We have, of course, the Rheuniclus line. And then we have the Ice Cream line, Vanillite, Vanillish, Vanillux. Carabast and Escavalier are there, but no signs of, like, what's the other one? The, let me actually, Shelmet and Exelgor. Shelmet and Exelgor, I don't think they may take the cut. No, Shelmet and Exegor didn't make the cut. Jellicent and Frillish did make the cut. Joltik and Galvantula made the cut. Ferroseed and Ferroton make the cut. The Litwick line make the cut. Exu line made the cut. Again, Garchomp isn't, but Haxorus is. The Golett line made the cut. Both Braviary and Mandibus made the cut. And of course, Hydreigon made the cut. Diggersby made the cut. The Pangoro line made the cut as well. So that's our... No, the Pangoro line is Generation 6 and Diggersby as well. So up until the Hydreigon part, like, which Pokemon are still missing from Sword and Shield? So let me actually take scroll back. So of course the fossil Pokemon so far didn't make the cut for Pokemon Sword and Shield, but again, I'm not that surprisingly that they didn't. Yamask and Cofagrigus. Don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that. I think that those two can still... No, don't know how I feel about that. But those two didn't make the cut so far. Trubbish and Garbodor did make the cut. Zorua and Zoroark. I would be surprised if they didn't make the cut, but at the same time, Gimmikimons, they might be like, how would Zoroark work with Dynamaxing? Would Zoroark, if Zoroark goes out and it Dynamax, will it Dynamax as the Pokemon that they might actually not include Zoroark just because of its ability because of that? Because if Zoroark Dynamax and it comes out as like a Trubbish, let's say it comes out as a Garbodor, will it Dynamax as a Garbodor, and once it gets hit, will the Dynamax Zoroark goes from Dynamax Garbodor to Dynamax Zoroark? I think they might leave out Zoroark for his ability for that alone. Ducklet and Swanna didn't make the cut. Wouldn't be surprised about that because we have Cramorant now. Dealing and Sawsbuck, I would be sad. Sawsbuck is such a fun mon to use, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Emolga as well, wouldn't be surprised. Fungus and Amoongus, wouldn't be surprised. Alamamola, wouldn't be surprised. Joltik and Galvantula. Joltik and Galvantula did make the cut, right? Yeah, they did make the cut. So Joltik and Galvantula made the cut. Ferroseed and Ferroton did make the cut. Clink, Clink, Clang, and Clink Clang. Now, we've seen like images of Clink in Pokemon Sword and Shield trailers, like as background or as like I think as background. I think as like a background for the like training card stuff thing that Pokemon Sword and Shield has. So I am going to say that Clink Clang and Clink Clang will be in Pokemon Sword and Shield, but they're not officially announced. And I think those three Pokemon could maybe benefit from like a Galarian form, because Hit being a pure Steel type doesn't really quite work in the meta. So maybe adding like an Electric type to it, like Magnezone. And that could maybe perhaps be the reason that Magnezone wouldn't be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think Clink Clang and Clink Clang, like putting like Steel, maybe like Steel, like they like to do random stuff. So maybe like Steel Dark, like Steel Dark type, or maybe like Steel Ground, like an Excadrill, and maybe that's why Excadrill is maybe not in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like I can give it like a Galarian form, put like an extra typing on it, and make it viable in Pokemon Sword and Shield. The Electros line not being able in Sword and Shield, not surprised about that. One surprised if they didn't make the cut. Algem and Beheeyem, one surprised if they didn't make the cut. Axew did make the cut. Cupchew and Beartic didn't make the cut. No, that's understandable because they're ice bears. You don't see ice bears in like in the Generation 5 region, like in America. They also have like Canada and such, where you get into the coldy climate. So I can understand like that a Cupchew, a Beartic, or a Cryogonal didn't make like the cut. Again, Shelmet and Exegor, just mentioned that they aren't in the cut. Stunfisk isn't in the cut as well. I think that Pokemon could maybe benefit from an evolution. Mienfoo and Mienshao, who didn't make the cut so far. That's actually very surprising. I wouldn't... yeah, I would be very surprised if those two didn't make the cut. Druddigon would be heavily surprised if that didn't make the cut, because if you look at Druddigon, like if I see Druddigon, I tend to think about gargoyles. Like Druddigon could benefit from a Galarian form maybe. Slap a rock type on it. Maybe Druddigon is like getting an evolution, and maybe those are like the gargoyle things you'll see. Like I think Druddigon is fitting for Pokemon Sword and Shield. So if Druddigon didn't make the cut for Pokemon Sword and Shield, I would be heavily surprised if Druddigon would be left out. Druddigon is an amazing one to use, and I think they could do something extra with it by giving it the Galarian form. Maybe even giving it an evolution, maybe. I think a Druddigon evolution would be maybe overpowered, but again, if Druddigon didn't make the cut, I would be heavily surprised. We have Golett and Golurk in Pokemon Sword and Shield being announced. The Rufflet line and the Vullaby line. We're missing Pawniard, Bisharp, and Bouffalant. I wasn't surprised if they all three didn't make the cut. The Bisharp line could maybe benefit from like a Galarian form. And then of course we have like Heatmor and Durant. I wasn't surprised if they didn't make the cut. And then Dino, Swallows, and Hydreigon. I hope Heatmor actually, by the way, makes the cut because I like that one. And we also have like Larvesta and Volcarona, who didn't make the cut. And then we're getting to all the legendaries. So those are the Generation 5 Pokemon. Let's dive right into Generation 6. We're close to the end here. So of course all of the starters aren't available, but Bunnelby and Diggersby is available in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Pancham and Pangoro as well, and of course Esper and both Meowstic forms. Which means that the Fletchling line, Fletchling, Talonflame so far isn't announced for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Wouldn't surprise if they aren't making the cut. Scatterbug, Pupa, and Vivillon, again, wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Litleo and Pyroar, maybe as a Galarian form, but if they didn't got a Galarian form, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Flabebe, Floette, and Florges, wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Skidoo and Gogoat, wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Furfrou, wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut because we're already having like a Yamper in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And then we have like, I think, Honedge, Doublade, and Aegislash, which are announced for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Swirlix and Slurpuff, Inkay and Malamar, Helioptile, Heliolisk, Hawlucha, and the Goodra line. Which means that from the Pokemon that I've mentioned in between, the Pokemon that didn't make the cut so far is, I think, Spritzy and Aromatisse, Binacle and Barbaracle, Scrap and Dragalge, Clauncher and Clawitzer, and like Tyrantrum, Amora, and Auroris. The Dena also didn't make the cut so far, which I wouldn't be surprisingly about because it's like a regional thing, like the regional Pikachu thing from Generation 6. And Carbink and Klefki also not being released so far for Pokemon Sword and Shield, or revealed so far for Pokemon Sword and Shield. All the Pokemon that I mentioned, I wasn't surprised if they didn't make the cut. Like, a lot of these Pokemon are like, some of them are like fun to use, but I could see them not putting them in Pokemon Sword and Shield because they don't like fit the style of that game. Then we have Phantom and Trevenant being revealed for Pokemon Sword and Shield. We have Pumpkaboo and Gugai so far being revealed for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Bergmite and Avalok being revealed so far for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Noibat and Noivern, also interesting, but I can see that because Noivern has that like that old style, I can't find the word, but they fit the Galarian style to say the least. Then we have, then we're already getting in like Pokemon Sun and Moon, the Generation 7. So from the Pokemon mentioned, we're missing. Let me actually see. We're missing like Phantom and Trevenant were announced, Pumpkin and Gugas were announced, Bergmite and Avalok were announced, Noibat and Sunoivan were announced. Yeah, no, a lot of Generation 6 mons were announced, which makes sense because Generation 6 is supposedly to be like based on French, France, and Generation 8 is supposedly to be resembling United Kingdom, and being France and the United Kingdom being so close to each other, having a lot of Pokemon from Generation 6 being available in Generation 8 does make sense if you see it like geographical wise. But there are some Pokemon missing here like Klefki, the Denner, Carbink, the Dragalge line, the Clawitz line. But again, I can understand why these Pokemon wouldn't make the cut if they're not in it. So with that being said, we're now getting in the last generation, Generation 7. So, of course, the starter Pokemons aren't available so far. We have, however, the Grubbin line, Grubbin, Charjabug, Vikavolt, We also have Cutiefly and Ribombee, and we have Wishiwashi, and also Marini and Toxapex. So, which Pokemon are we missing so far that are in the Pokemon Sun and Moon Pokedex? Well, we're missing Pikipek, Trumbeak, and Toucannon. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut because they are tropical birds. Why would a tropical bird be in a region like Galar? We have Yungoos and Gumshoes, which I can also understand because of the whole like Yungoos and Gumshoes were brought over to fight the Alolan Rattata pest in Pokemon Sun and Moon. Crabrawler and Crabominal. Wasn't surprised if they didn't make the cut. The Oricorio whole line wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make the cut. Rockruff and Lycanroc. That has surprised me because Rockruff and Lycanroc were like popular Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Moon. So I would have thought that they probably would have brought over Rockruff to Pokemon Sword and Shield. But so far apparently they aren't announced so far. So. And then, of course, Wishiwashi, Marini, and Toxapex were announced. Then we have like Mudbray, Mudsdale, Morlil, and Shiinotic, and Stuffle and Beware. So, a lot of Pokemon that are mentioned, like Mudsdale, can understandable because you have still donkeys, I think, in the United Kingdom, and it's a horse kind of thing, like a horse. Morlil and Shiinotic, kind of surprised, but maybe it gives me the opportunity to use it because I've always thought about using Shiinotic, so. Maybe I could use it actually. Stuffle and Beware, I'm not surprised. Those two are very popular with the Pokemon fans and also in the anime. Stuffle and Beware had like a high, like they were very much in the Pokemon anime. So I'm not surprised that Stuffle and Beware are in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But we are missing like Salandit, Salazzle, Dewpider, and Araquanid, Formentis and Lurantis. So we are missing like some of these Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now on to the next Pokemon that are announced for Pokemon Sword and Shield. We have Bounsweet, Steenie, and Sarina being announced, Wimpod and Golisopod, Turtonator being announced, Togedemaru being announced, and of course Mimikyu also being announced. And Drampa and Delmise are also announced. So a lot of unique Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Moon from Generation 7 that are in Pokemon Sword and Shield, like Turtonator, Togedemaru. I wouldn't have guessed that these would be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. They are here. And which Pokemon are we missing? Well, we're missing Comfey, if I'm not mistaken, which I can surprise if they didn't make the cut for Comfey. Yeah, Comfey didn't make the cut so far. We have Oranguru and Passimian. Wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Sandygast and Palossand. I am actually not surprised if they didn't make the cut. Pumukumuku. Wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Type Nola Silvally, absolutely wouldn't surprise if they didn't make the cut. Minior and Komala, yeah, wouldn't surprise if they did make the cut as well. And then we have like Bruxish, which I'm not surprised Bruxish didn't make the cut. I don't think a lot of people love Bruxish. And then of course we have like the Kommo-o line, Yangmo-o, Hakamo-o, and Kommo-o. Again, that Pokemon being in Sword and Shield and like Dragonite, not so far. It does surprise me. Maybe they're giving like Galarian Dratini a chance, but I would heavily be surprised if that was the case. But yeah, Kommo-o is in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I think after that we have like the legendaries and of course Mew. Mew, the only legendary so far from like mythical legendary, you know what I mean, from the previous generation to me in Pokemon Sword and Shield. And like, of course it's Mew, because why would it not be Mew? If like Charizard is like generation, like Game Freak's favorite toy, then Mew is probably like Game Freak's favorite mythical legendary Pokemon. But yeah, not a lot of Pokemon missing. Like the Ultra Beast, I'm not surprised if they didn't make the cut, and also Melton and Melmetal, I'm not surprised if they make the cut. So yeah, that was the whole Pokedex from Pokemon Sword and Shield so far that being announced. Of course, this is also still up for change. There can still be like a lot of Pokemon being added from like I said before. They could still add like a Pokemon like Dragonite later on, or it's still, you know, the reveal, like the games are already done, so they're probably in the game, but they're not revealed yet. Like if I have like to make a choice which Pokemon I'm still surprised that didn't make the cut, like Psyduck and Golduck obviously, because Psyduck being like a popular Pokemon, Druddigon not being like in Pokemon Sword and Shield so far, being revealed. That's also like a big thing. I'm very heavily surprised too. Like a Chandelure, I can understand that Chandelure is in Pokemon Sword and Shield because it has that look to it. The same can be said for like Noivern. Like, you know what? So far, what I've seen from the Galarian Pokedex, I'm not that mad about it. I'm not that mad about it. Like, of course, there are some Pokemon missing from Pokemon Sword and Shield so far that I'm like, I really hope they still make the cut. But from the Pokemon mentioned, like the biggest upset point so far for me in Pokemon Sword and Shield has to be Cherrim. Like why put in Cherrim in Pokemon Sword and Shield? Why? Why is Cherrim? Like, where's Cherrim? Why is Cherubian Cherrim in Pokemon Sword and Shield? I don't get it. I don't get why Cherubian Cherrim is in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, you could have given that spot to anyone else. And again, if like your favorite Pokemon, which is also like maybe a popular Pokemon, is in Pokemon Sword and Shield, then why put in Cherubian Cherrim? Sorry for everybody that likes Cherubian Cherrim, by the way. Like, I'm not here like blatantly hating on Cherrim because I hate Cherrim, because there's not like a lot of Pokemon that I really hate besides like Castform and such. But Cherrim being in Pokemon Sword and Shield and like another Pokemon like, let's say Dragonite doesn't make the cut, like Cherrim did make the cut and then Dragonite didn't. Like, you see how it kind of feels weird. And I know like Cherrim, at least they're giving like a Pokemon like Cherrim like an opportunity. And maybe like they give Cherrim like an evolution. We don't know that. Maybe they give Cherrim like something unique, that it could be like something special, you know. But yeah, it does surprise me that a Pokemon like Cherrim is in Pokemon Sword and Shield, but a Pokemon like Garchomp or Dragonite isn't. Like it is going to be interesting how the whole Galarian Pokedex with the Dex cut is going to look like, because I'm now, you know, I was at the beginning, I was very mad, like, oh my god, how can they do this? I want every Pokemon to be in Pokemon Sword and Shield. But now I'm slowly, you know, getting adjusted to the idea of like, okay, you know what, this makes it a little bit interesting, playable wise, like story wise, playing the game normally, casually, and also competitive wise. Like, we're being maybe forced to use Pokemon we weren't thinking about using before, but now we're actually am probably going to use it. Like, which was the Pokemon that I've Shiinotic. I haven't used Shiinotic in Pokemon Sun and Moon because I was like, I don't want to use it. I have other Pokemon to use. But now, because Pokemon are being cut from the Pokemon Sword and Shield decks, like now I'm maybe, you know, I'm like, you know what? Let's try Shiinotic because the option is now there. So, you know, I am happy now that it is going to be very interesting to see how the competitive meta is going to work out. But yeah, that was the video of me going through the current Pokedex from Pokemon Sword and Shield. This video is an hour long, but you know what? I enjoyed doing this. I enjoyed looking at the Pokedex to see how the Pokedex so far is looking. If you did, however, don't forget to hit the like button, comment, share this video with others, slash the subscribe button down below, and hit that bell icon, because then you get notified every time I upload a new video, and that is sincerely appreciated. Let me guys know what Pokemon you're excited to use so far in the Galarian Pokedex, and what Pokemon you're still surprised that it didn't make the cut so far. But yeah, that ends this video here. If you want more Pokemon Sword and Shield videos, again, let me know in the comment section below, but I'm going to end this video off here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time. Bye bye!